Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about the first step toward living a brilliantly balanced life. And the first step, of course, is becoming who you want to be. Because, as I mentioned last week, where you go on your journey is not nearly as significant as who you are when you get there. Because you are your own company all along that journey, and everyone you impact will notice who you are and be likewise affected by the kind of company you are for them. So our fulfillment of our life's best potential rests in becoming the best self that we can be. So here are some tips today that I'm going to leave for you to help you toward becoming your best self. Now, first of all, you need to recognize that introspection is not the only way to becoming your best self. Character development requires a lot of different input and perspective. You need wise counsel around you, and even with that, other people are going to have cataracts in their own eyes. Their issues will prevent them from seeing you with perfect clarity. So if you are a Christian, you have a much more clear perspective to offer you insights into your character development. Christians have the Holy Spirit dwelling within them. So the Holy Spirit, of course, with all the wisdom of all the universe, is able to see us clearly and give us the best perspective. We simply need to be able to listen clearly and be able to hear Him without blocks of our own in the way. And so that's why it's good to have a balance of our own introspection, wise counsel, and connecting with God, connecting with the Holy Spirit, our source of true self-development. So with that, I'm going to move into some more pragmatic steps that you can take in addition to that. That's a very important key step. But you need to know your personality type. You need to know who you are now and your core personality traits of who you will continue to be. We're not going to change your personality overall. We're going to continue to be who you are meant to be and just be more true and purified in that destined best self that you were created to become. So know if you're an introvert or an extrovert. That's not going to change on your self-development. You will need to know if you are those things so that you know how to adopt best practices and know what your needs are so that your disposition is the best it can be as you move along the journey. So, for example, if you're an introvert, you may be required to do something toward your ultimate goal that requires you to be around lots of people. But you need to know, if you're an introvert, how to apply certain steps and keep margins in place where you have time to recharge and be by yourself and take some time for reflection and renewal. If you're an extrovert like I am, and you have a job that keeps you alone all the time, you need to know that there are times when you need to just go get around a bunch of people so that you can refill yourself and get energized. So that's what I'm doing this week. I'm going to be at the Blue Ridge Mountains Christian Writers Conference, for example. I know I'm going to get really energized by being around lots of people, and that's something I plug into my schedule seasonally, weekly, to stay around people. It helps me be the best self that I can be. Are you reflective? Are you action-oriented? Know those things about your personality. Are you people-oriented? Are you task-oriented? And what do your personality traits indicate about your needs? Your needs to do certain things in your life, your needs to take time, and your best practices. What are the best places that you can be involved? Identify and embrace your strengths as well. You have gifts, you have talents, you have personality characteristics that make you strong. Those same personality characteristics, however, can be limitations and blind spots. So know what those are. Be willing to identify and be honest with yourself about those. Those can be the shadow part of your strengths. Sometimes your greatest strength can also be a limitation. But if you know what those are, that's how you can use that information to leverage it to become your best self. Because when you know where you are weak and where your tripping points can be, where your pitfalls are going to be located on that journey, then you can hire to your weaknesses. Bring people into your life that are strong where you are not. Help them to be around you and listen to them so that they can point out you're about to trip. You need to take some time. You need to plug in some margin into your space. Those action-oriented people need to know when it's time to take a rest. You also need to have people who are willing to be honest with you. People who will speak the truth in love. That is true wisdom. True wisdom isn't shaming or condemnation. You need to learn to recognize the difference and get positive, uplifting, supportive people, not yes men, not people who are simply going to tell you you're always doing what's right, because those people aren't helpful. You need to be around those people who are going to be watching your back against your own tendencies to trip yourself up. So correction is different than condemnation. Make sure you know the difference and you bring people that are willing to love you and support you and guide you. They will be your life preserver around you if you have that close circle. Make sure that you're also willing to connect to God and listen to Him. If you don't know how to hear God, get some wise people that can show you how to do that. That's a great thing to have in your life. You can listen to His promptings about that perfect perspective and hear those character polishes and then be willing to put into practice what He tells you to do. Your best self is spiritually aware after all. So your best self needs to be soulfully nourished. So make sure you take the time to nourish your spirit and your soul and to connect with God. Meditate upon your ideal inner self. Now that you've connected with the wise counsel and you've listened to God, make sure you take the time to just sit and reflect. Meditate. Who is my best self? What does that look like? It's not going to change you from being an introvert or an extrovert. It's not going to take away your strengths or your best personality traits or really your ultimate passions that God put in your heart. There are certain things that are going to trigger your heartstrings, things that you're passionate about, causes that are important to you. Those can line up with your destined goals. So listen to those promptings. What kind of person am I intended to become? Don't let your focus remain on who you were. Define yourself according to who you are becoming. I am becoming a nurturing person. I am becoming an encourager. I'm becoming a servant. I'm becoming a person who honors God in all things. Think about the ways that God has created you specifically to be a unique person who reflects His nature. So think about how He's made you and who you aspire to be as a person. Make sure you align that with the core traits of who you are. Again, you are like a piece of ore, a raw gem. We're not going to change whether you're a ruby or a sapphire, but we're going to pull away the impurities that make it difficult to see the beauty of the sapphire. Your beauty should shine through and reflect all the light of the Creator who designed you specifically for a purpose. So think about what you could minimize. What could you change? What could you get rid of? And what could you increase or enhance or add to your thoughts, your attitudes, and your behavior to help you more grow into that person that you are becoming each day? You are not who you were. You do not need to define yourself even by who you are, but who God is shaping you to become and who you are choosing to act upon every day. So list those steps and take one at a time. Be patient with yourself, but don't procrastinate. Don't hurry the process, but begin it today. So if you need life coaching, I'm available. You can connect with me through divineencouragement.com. I'd love for you to visit me on the blog and give me your comments here so that I can respond to those. Let me know where you are moving in your steps toward becoming your best self. What are you learning? I'd love to hear about your journey, and I hope that you have a blessed rest of your week. Bye-bye.